everyone. So today we will be talking about the introduction to the area and perimeter of shapes. Okay, let's begin. Let me just present this. Okay, so this curriculum is made for ages 7 to 9. So if you're anywhere between those ages or are those ages, this presentation would be beneficial for you in so many ways. And if you're not, just feel free to watch and learn. It even can apply to you. Okay, so just before we begin, there's some simple definitions you can look at before we go more in depth. So area and perimeter. So hello, just as an introduction, I am Namrata Jitendra. I go by Nami, and I will be teaching you about the calculations needed to find the area or perimeter of different shapes. And this is for the website Interns for Good. Just to say it one more time, virtual curriculum is made for second to third graders. Okay, so what is the deck summary of today's lesson? Today we will be learning about calculating the area and perimeter of different shapes. All these different shapes basically. And then the skills acquired and things that you will get out of this lesson is that you will learn how to add the size of a shape to find the perimeter. You will also learn how to use formulas that align with each shape to find the area of that specific shape. So let's begin. So what is perimeter? Perimeter is the path that surrounds a two-dimensional shape. It is the outline of a shape. In this picture, you would start from here and you would add this length to this length to this length and to this length. You need to remember that perimeter is the distance all the way around the outside of a 2D shape. So it's the length outside, it's like the outline, I guess you could say, of this shape. And all that, the length of each side all added up. That's what makes the perimeter. It is, just drill this into your mind, it is the distance all the way around the outside of a 2D shape. That is the best definition that I can give you that will help you understand it. How do you calculate the perimeter of any shape? So perimeter is a general concept that its formula goes with every single shape. It's not like area where you need a specific formula. So this one method works for all shapes. So the first step is to look at the length of the sides of the shape. So in this example, the triangle, what are the lengths of the shape? 3, 4, and 5. Now add this up. Add all of these side lines up. So 3 plus 4 plus 5. So what does that give us? Well, it gives us 12, and that is the perimeter of this shape. What is the perimeter of this square? So as you can see here, all sides are the same because a square is defined by all the lengths of the sides equaling each other. So that's what the definition of a square is. So if they didn't give us, so if they only gave us one side, we would know all four sides. Because a square is, and if they told us it was a square, we would know each side. Because a square's definition is that all sides of it are equal. But thankfully, unfortunately, they gave it to us. So all we would need to do is find a distance around it. To find a distance around it, we take each side length and add it together. So here it would be 2.5 plus 2.5 plus 2.5 plus 2.5. Or in other words, 2.5 times 4, which gives us 10. The correct answer is 10 because 2.5 plus 2.5 plus 2.5 plus 2.5 equals 10, giving us the perimeter of the square. And you can just look at the equation and how we set that up right over here. Let's try this more complicated version. We don't have the length of all the sides. To find the missing length of the side opposite to the 4 centimeters, so when it comes to this kind of shape, before I read this, I'm sorry. So before it comes to this type of shape, we need to find the missing length. So as we know, we don't have the length of each side. So to find the missing length of the side opposite to the 4 centimeters, all you would need to do is add this 4 to this 3 to get this whole side. Because as you can see, this side plus this side is equal to this whole length. So this would be a 7. Got it? So this would be 7. Here, let me just get a pointer. So this would be 7. Okay, so this side would be 7 because 4 plus 3 equals 7. Got it? Because this side plus this length right over here would equal this whole side. So this is 7. So in your mind, just put a 7 right over here. Got it? Okay. Okay, now let's go back. Okay, so we have this side is 7. So the only side we're missing is this side. Okay? So to get this side, we need to take this length, 6, and minus it by 2. And what do we get? 4. Because when you look at it, this side plus 2 has to equal 6. So the only number that makes sense here is 4. So this is 7 and this is 4. So then we would make an equation out of it. So 6 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2, don't forget this. So 6 plus 4 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 7. And this gives us 26 centimeters.
Yeah.
Just to make sure we understand the concept, so there are two unique shapes over here. So how do we find the perimeter of this one? The perimeter here would be calculated by 2.42 plus 4.60 plus 3.91 centimeters, which then equals 10.93 centimeters. Here, the perimeter would equal 5 plus 3 plus 7 plus 2, which then equals 17 inches. Remember, the unit you would put at the end of your number answer is the units that are used in the problem. Because this has centimeters, the answer for this problem would be 10.93 centimeters. Because it's in inches, the perimeter would be 17 inches. Let's move on to area. What is area? Well, it is a quantity inside a shape. And the formula to find area in a rectangle or a square, only those two, is length times width. And some other shapes, but usually it's just length and width for square and rectangle. Let's go back. That's not the formula for every single shape. That's really important to understand with area. It's not like perimeter where there's one general concept and you use it for every single shape. Area is more specific and technically harder because there's specific formulas you need to understand how to apply to each shape. So how do I find the area of a shape? To find the area of a shape, you would have to plug in values that accompany its formula. So to find the area of a rectangle or the quantity inside of it, you would do base times height. So whatever number is over here and whatever number is over here, you would times it. In a triangle, it's 1/2 base times height. So it would be 1/2 of this number. No, sorry, 1/2 of, actually it doesn't matter. So it could be 1/2 of the height times base, or it could be 1/2 of the base times height. In simpler terms, just multiply the base and the height and just divide by 2. That's much easier. So if this was 5 and then this was 2, I'd do 5 times 2 equals 10, divided by the 2, and 5 is the area of the triangle. So why do we divide by 2? We divide by 2 because 2 triangles make one rectangle or square. And because that's why we divide by 2, because technically this is half of a rectangle or a square. Okay, let's move on. Parallelogram, just base times height, same thing as a rectangle, same formula. Trapezium or trapezoid. So trapezium is one of the harder ones. There's 2 bases, A and B. You would add base 1 plus base 2 times it by the height, the perpendicular height, not the slant height, the perpendicular height. This is what a slant height is, and this is what a perpendicular. It has to go straight down. And you would divide that by 2, and that's how you would find the area of a trapezium or a trapezoid. The circle is just pi r squared. We'll go into deeper later on what pi is and what r is and what it stands for. So how do I find the area of a square or rectangle? According to this chart, you would look at this chart first. What is the area? How do I find the area? You would ask those questions to yourself. So over here it says area is calculated by multiplying length or width. That's the same thing as base times height. So you could just think of it as base times height. So here is an example. When I take 3 and times it by 8, I get 24, which is the area of the shape. So this is the base and then this is the height. And I just multiplied it to get 24. What is the area of a triangle? How do I find it? Good questions. So according to the formula for finding the area of a triangle, it is 1/2 base times height. In other words, it is base times height, and you just divide by 2. That means we take half the length of the base and multiply it by the length of the height. So you could do this, height times base, and divide by 2. Or you could just take 1/2 of the base and times it by the height. It's your choice, whatever works for you. And it's easier for you, obviously. So let's look back to the formula. Area of a triangle is found by multiplying the base times height and then dividing it by 2, or in other words, multiplying it by 1/2. Following this, we can make the equation So we need to look at this formula, right? So what is the height here? Remember, this isn't the height, that's the slant height. We need the perpendicular height. We know it's perpendicular because of this square-like figure, and it has to go straight down. So this is the height, and this is the base. So I would do 10 times 14 and divide it by 2. So we would take half of the base, which is 14, which then becomes 7, so 1 half the base, and then you can times it by 10, which is the height. So this is the height, and this gives us an area of 70 m squared. Squared is something that you don't need to put for perimeter, but you do need to put it for area. It's just how area works. You just need to put squared after the units you put. So in this case, it's meters, so you put 70 meters squared. Do not forget the squared. Okay, so now let's go over the basics of an area for a circle. So let's go over. So the formula to find the area of a circle is pi r squared. So what is radius? So a radius is the r, and the radius is the length of the line from the center of a circle to the edge. So the center of the circle to the edge. That is what r is, or radius. So this number right over here, the length of the circle from the center to its edge. What is pi? Pi is the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter. So if that's too complicated for you to understand, in simpler terms, it is a never-ending really number. And it is always going to be 3.14159265359. It just never ends. So we will round this number to 3.14. We'll just take the first three digits. So the area for a circle is calculated by this formula, which is pi. So which is pi. This number, pi, times radius, this length over here, squared. So let's look at an example. Notice that the radius is given in this circle. Okay, so it's 8. From the center of the circle to the edge is what the radius is. So it's 8. So area equals pi r squared. So you would square the 8 first, because remember with squared, so you do 8 cm squared. Squaring is just saying the same number times it by itself. And do not forget the pi. So over here you would have 64, because 8 squared is 64, and then you'd bring the pi, and then you'd have centimeters. So this is in terms of pi. You don't need a calculator with pi, but if you were, you would round pi to 3.14, and so you would do 64 times 3.14, and you'd get this number, 201.06 centimeters squared. This is rounded because this answer is rounded because we didn't take the never-ending number of pi. We just rounded pi to 3.14. So this isn't the exact number, while this isn't the exact answer, while this is because of the pi symbol. So look, like over here, you can see it. So let me just read this just to get a clear understanding for you guys. So the radius is 8. So we plug it into the formula pi r squared. Since r is 8, we now have 64 pi. Or, because 8 times 8 is 64, so 64 pi. Or if we want to round it, you would just take pi and convert it into this number, 3.14, and then that equals about 201.06 cm squared. You would put let's go back. So it's this unit, because this is the unit used in the picture. And do not forget the squared. Squared is important when we're talking about area. Okay, so this one is a parallelogram. Parallelogram is easy. It's just the base times the height. Height has to be perpendicular. It has to be a straight line. It's not the slant height. It's not this. It's this. You can see it because of the symbol right over here. So parallelogram's area is base times height. So in this equation, it is 15 base times height times 8, which is 120 inches squared. Don't forget the squared, guys. So here the area is calculated by the base times height, which equals to 15 times 8, which then equals 120 inches squared. To find the area of a parallelogram, we take the length times the width. Lastly, trapezoids. To find the area of a trapezoid, you have to add the length of its bases together, and then divide it by 2 and times that by the length. This one is actually kind of hard, so let's go through this one slowly. So you would take base number 1, add it to base number 2, and times it by the height. But also remember, you have to divide by 2. So it is 6 plus 12. So take the first base, and then add it to the second base, 12, and then divide it by 2. Then times it by the height. So you would take 1/2, and then you would plug in base number 1, which is 6, plus base number 2, which is 12, and times it by the height, which is 4. So following PEMDAS, First, let's calculate the parentheses. 6 plus 12 is 18. So now we have 1/2 times 18 times 4. And then from here on, you can just do whatever you want since it all involves multiplication. So 1/2 times 18 is 9. 9 times 4 is 36 centimeters. You don't need to put the word squared. You can also add a symbol. This also shows that it's 36 cm squared. So, as a review, to find the area of a trapezoid, you have to add the length of its bases together. In this case, 6 and 12. And then you have to divide by 2 and times that by the perpendicular height, which is here is 4. These are some extra resources that I would think is such a great idea to check out. It's just amazing. All the resources you can find on YouTube. There's 3 YouTube videos and a math game that I would highly suggest you practice. It is just amazing. That's it. That's the end of our lesson. I really hope you liked it. Some things about me is that my name is Nami, and I love math. I also play tennis, and I'm in the robotics club at my high school. Okay, thank you guys.